My name is Sheetal Venkatesh, and I'm a Principal Product Manager for Symantec. In this test drive, which is going to be about 60 minutes of a lot of use cases, you're going to learn how CCS can automate security configuration assessment for your data center and cloud environment. You're also going to see how CCS can identify misconfigurations, vulnerabilities, and also detect rogue unprotected systems. And finally, you can see how CCS can generate compliance and risk reports to help you develop a systematic remediation plan for your compliance program. But first, let's spend a couple of quick minutes on a tour of CCS. CCS is a comprehensive IT GRC solution that gives you a holistic view of your risk and compliance posture. CCS has various modules, and each of them help automate security assessments for key parts of your cybersecurity and continuous monitoring programs. Let's start with Standards Manager. This is the module that we'll be spending most of our time on today for this test drive. Standards Manager automates security configuration assessment for your IT infrastructure and identifies configuration drift, vulnerabilities, indicators of compromise, as well as rogue unprotected systems. With Assessment Manager, which is the next module, you can automate procedural compliance assessments for business processes as well as employees, where the assessment has to be performed by asking key control questions and documenting the responses. Next, Risk Manager helps you prioritize risks by combining the base risk score for assets with the business criticality of the asset, such that you're able to focus and remediate issues detected in your mission-critical applications on priority. Vendor Risk Manager helps you automate risk assessments for third-party vendors that process sensitive information or manage critical applications and services for your organization. And finally, Policy Manager helps you automate the life cycle of IT policies, as well as measures whether your organization is compliant with those defined IT policies. Control Compliance Suite provides you a holistic view of your risk and compliance posture. With CCS, you can assess a business process or a server once and generate a compliance report for any of the hundreds of mandates and standards supported out of the box in CCS. And all of this analytics capability in CCS is powered by the CCS control framework, which is a hierarchical set of over 2,000 controls based on the NIST 853 framework. Each control is mapped to various sections of mandates and standards such as PCI DSS, ISO 27002, and Sarbanes-Oxley. These controls are also mapped to thousands of out-of-box assessment checks, both technical and procedural, that CCS can perform on the IT environment. This comprehensive mapping capability between the controls, the checks, and the mandates enables you to perform an assessment once, but report across any number of mandates or standards or policies in your environment. This capability in CCS is uniquely differentiated against other solutions in this space. CCS has a federated deployment model and has been really built to scale, especially for a large enterprise environments. Our largest deployments for CCS span over 200,000 servers. Let's say that you are the security operations administrator, and your boss called you this morning and told you that you have to perform a security configuration assessment for your data center and come up with a plan to successfully demonstrate compliance to the PCI 3.1, PCI DSS 3.1 audit that is coming up in 2 months. Now let's walk through a high-level flow of how you would be able to achieve this with CCS. The first step is to actually get an inventory of all the assets that you really have in your environment that you need to prove compliance for. This starts with the CCS network scan or a network assessment to identify all the servers and devices that are connected to the network. This step is critical to detect rogue or unprotected server assets in your environment. Next step is to perform a security configuration assessment for your servers to identify any configuration drifts from the best practice standards and compliance requirements that you put in place. Misconfigured systems weaken the organization's cyber defenses and expose sensitive data, increasing the risk of critical business downtime and security breaches. CCS delivers several out-of-box best practice standards for various server, database, virtualization, and application platforms. These standards are based on the CIS benchmarks, SCAP benchmarks, as well as various Symantec best practice standards. Once CCS has completed the scan, you can now view the assessment results to identify misconfigurations, vulnerabilities, or any indicators of compromise. You can find out how each control failure impacts your regulatory posture, and you can also get a detailed set of steps to remediate that specific control failure. You can also use the dashboard view to get a more holistic view of the overall compliance posture of your environment. You can specifically choose maybe a PCI DSS compliance view in the test drive environment. You can see here that this environment seems to be at less than 50% compliance. You can drill into the specific non-compliant, the pie chart that you see here to identify the specific set of servers that are leading to the low risk score or the low compliance score. And what you can also do is drill down even further into those servers to find out exactly in what ways those servers are contributing to a low compliance score through the list of all control failures that have been identified. You can also see the various procedural controls assessment questions that have been marked as failed for these servers that are also contributing to a low risk score or a compliance score. Let's talk about Risk Manager now. With Risk Manager, you can also get a business-centric view of risk by viewing the specific business units that is contributing most to risk. You can then get a BU-specific view and also generate an action plan for reducing risk for those assets. So in this example, you can look at how the highest risk in this screen is coming from the internet banking BU. You can drill into the internet banking BU to get a specialized dashboard just focused on the internet banking BU. You can further drill down to get the list of all the servers that are contributing to the low risk score. Now you can come up with an actual action plan by choosing the specific risk items that you're choosing to either accept or remediate, and finally assign this action plan to a specific member of your team who can actually drive this to closure outside the CCS system. So with these steps, you now have a good understanding of how CCS helps automate security configuration assessments to help you meet that PCI DSS audit deadline that your boss just asked you to fulfill, as well as generally to strengthen your cybersecurity posture. So we really hope that you have had a good experience with this particular test drive. If you'd like further assistance for any issues you faced during this test drive, or you would like to give us additional feedback, please visit our support forum on our community website. For more information on CCS and for downloading a trial version, please visit the CCS product page. Thank you.